Good evening to my panelists. My name is Faris bin Badrul Hisham. Today I'm gonna present about my thesis project. So my topic is predicting individual digital entrepreneurship and does educational intervention matter. So firstly is chapter 1 or introduction. So in the introduction have background, problem statement, research objective, research question, and significant. So firstly is background. The background of digital entrepreneurship is that digital entrepreneurs and the introduction of new ideas have had such a massive influence on the global world, particularly during the last decade. For example, like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple not only have revolutionized the business world, but have already influenced how we converse to one another in everyday life. So digital entrepreneurs have massive influence on our life, like WhatsApp, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, the app that we use daily on daily basis. So the term of digital entrepreneurship has been widely used by researchers, policymakers, and its contract remain unclear with such little proof of scholarship in the field. So because of the term of this digital entrepreneurship is not used by many people or researchers or policymakers. So the ongoing study is intended to justify the cyber entrepreneur intention model in terms of entrepreneur intention in order to investigate the drive of entrepreneur intention. So the problem statement. So the digital entrepreneur field in Malaysia has seen an increase in interest from various parties, particularly the government, in university students or younger people. So as we can see, the in college in Malaysia, they have already made a course like e-commerce, e-commerce course, computer science that relate to digital entrepreneur. So considering the possible importance of digital entrepreneurship for Malaysia, government have all of this initiative and program, but however, have an little impact on the number of genuine business startup for younger people or for university students. So research on entrepreneur intention in Malaysia has been almost non-existent and uh, very little and is understood about entrepreneur intention in university student. So in college student, in university, they have a very little understanding about the entrepreneur intention, so they might not know how to give the input to university student. So the research objective. So the objective of this research is to understand the factor that influence entrepreneur intention among younger people or university student or undergraduate people. So the aim of this study is to understand the relationship between the entrepreneur intention and entrepreneur. The first is to identify the effect of entrepreneur intention toward personality. So in our research, they have two personality traits that we use. First is the personality traits of consciousness, and the second one is personality traits of open to experience. So the second is to identify the effect of entrepreneurial intention toward entrepreneurial attitude. And the last is to identify the effect of entrepreneurial intention toward entrepreneurial motivation. Excuse me. So for the research question that we come out with is, firstly is what is the relationship between the personality traits and entrepreneurial intention. Like I mentioned before, they have two personality traits. The first is consciousness and the second is open to experience. Second is what is the relationship between entrepreneurial attitude and entrepreneurial intention. So the last is what is the relationship between entrepreneurial motivation and entrepreneurial intention. So the significant for this study is that the current study seeks to validate the cyber entrepreneur intention model on the basis of entrepreneurial intention in order to investigate the drive of entrepreneurial intention that I mentioned before. So the entrepreneurship and self-reliance are two distinct concepts, and the first premise on innovation and growth, while the second method is of earning money. So the involvement of young Malaysia to entrepreneurship can become a catalyst for Malaysia economic growth and help the economy reach the level of a developed country. So with the involvement of young Malaysian toward entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship can help the economic growth and stand up with with other developed country. So last is the research is critical in raising student awareness of self-employment opportunities. And we can see for with this pandemic, there's not a lot of uh, recruitment. So with this, we must make sure that we raise the student awareness of self-employment opportunities. With this digital entrepreneurship, they have a lot of opportunities for them to earn the self money. So next is the literature review or chapter 2. So in chapter 2, we have study framework and also literature review. First is the digital entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship based on the online consumer content is referred as a digital autopreneurship, for example, autobiography. So as we can see, digital entrepreneurship is based on people who sell product online or who make money online. So the unconventional entrepreneur are frequently ordinary users who really are enthusiastic about their leisure or recreational activities. And the key difference between the traditional and entrepreneurship and passion-driven entrepreneurship is that passion comes before an opportunity, recognition, and development. Next is entrepreneurial intention. So the behavioral intention is a central research topic in the social science. Science, it refers to a person motivation in the sense of his or her conscious plan or decision to exert effort to carry out the behavior. And according to theory, intention is a determinant of behavior and product of attitude, suggestive norm, and perceived behavior control. And process of collecting understanding through entrepreneurship seminar, building social and financial capital, planning for facility and equipment, shaping and refining an idea for a new product or service are example of this and intention. So we can say entrepreneur intention is about the intention of a person to motivate themselves or have the intention to become a digital entrepreneur. Next is personality trait. Personality is a collection of characteristics that represent individual overall emotional and behavioral pattern. An individual personal tendency to pursue new experience and challenge fantasy, artistic feeling, action, ideas, and value is characterized by openness to experience. And this research identify encouragement as an attribute intermediary and depth into how the five personality influence motivation and ultimately entrepreneurial intention. So with for entrepreneur or entrepreneur personality trait is a must for the younger people or who want to become an entrepreneur or entrepreneur. So the next is entrepreneurial motivation. Motivation can be described as psychology process encompassing stimulation, direction, intensity, and perseverance of goal-directed individual behavior. And motivation is obtained from individual level of need, said by Desi and Ryan in 2000. Anxiety and ambition resulting from discontentment start driven the individual to decrease his or emotional conflict. with entrepreneur motivation, we can have the motivation to lift ourselves to become more than we used before, or to become more or become better than we before this. So entrepreneurs who are motivated by extrinsic factors seek external rewards such as recognition and money, which are the outcome. So for this, we can see that motivation, people motivation is example is recognition, money, and rewards. Next is entrepreneurial attitude. So the degree to which a person has a favorable or unfavorable evaluation of or appraisal of the behavior in the question is referred to as one attitude toward the behavior, said by Eisen in 1991. Uh, the differential between the perception of personal attractiveness toward becoming self-employed and organizationally employed has been described in the context of entrepreneurship as attitude toward self-employment. Next is study framework. So this is our study framework. As you can see, the entrepreneur intention is our dependent variable, and our independent variable is entrepreneur motivation, personality traits, consciousness, personality openness to experience, and as entrepreneurial attitude. Next is our hypothesis. So the first hypothesis is entrepreneur motivation has a positive impact on autopreneur intention. Personality traits consciousness has positive impact on entrepreneur intention. Personality traits of, of openness to experience has positive impact on entrepreneur intention. And lastly, attitude has a positive impact on entrepreneur intention. Next is chapter 3 or methodology. So in chapter 3, we have research design, population and sampling, study measure, data collection, and data analysis. First is research design. So the main purpose of this research is to have a deep understanding on predecessor of entrepreneur intention on undergraduate and young people, or as you can say, university people also. In this study has developed. In this study, we have developed a questionnaire based on previous study of personality trait, entrepreneur motivation, and attitude, and also entrepreneur intention. And two personality traits scale with consciousness and openness to experience we measure using 3 and item respectively. And for entrepreneur motivation, attitude, and entrepreneur intention is we use 3 item respectively also. So the population and sampling is that the survey was hosted on a well-known social networking website that is Google Form, and it addressed information and was distributed on several networking sites and bulletin board system. So we use the Google Form, we use the Instagram, we post on the Instagram, we post on the WhatsApp. We also use to make a QR code and give it to everywhere and on every social platform. So any individual who provide his or email address to access the questionnaire can able to participate in the questionnaire or survey. And the survey was available for 1 month and a half, and the final sample consisted of 180 responses, and which 180 were usable. So this is our study measure. As you can see, the variable entrepreneurial is our dependent variable. So the entrepreneur motivation, personality traits, and attitude. So the personality trait, we have the consciousness and the openness to experience. So for the number of items for entrepreneurial intention, we have 3, and the alpha is the alpha or reliability is 0.83, and the scale type is 1 until 5 Likert, and the source is Eisen 2012. So for the entrepreneur motivation, say we have 3 items, and The reliability and alpha also 0.83, and the likelihood is also 1 to 5. Almost on our survey, we use 1 for 5 likelihood scale type. And for the sort is Iberia et al. In 1995, and the personality trait. For the two personality trait, we use 4 number of items, and the alpha orderability is 0.79, and the liquid or the scale type is 1 until 5. And John et al. Provide is the source in 1991, and the altitude is also 3 with the reliability and alpha 0.92, and the scale type we use is liquid 1 until 5, and the source is from Bird in 1998. So next is chapter 4, data analysis. In the chapter 4 or data analysis, we have sample description, descriptive analysis, reliability analysis, correlation, regression, ANOVA, and coefficient. So firstly is our sample description. The first sample description is about the male and the female. As the category of male and female, you can see the percentage of male is 67.2, and 101 were respondents were male, and 59 respondents were female, and the percentage is 32.8%. The next is the age sample description. As you can see, there are 38 respondents in the age of 15 and 20, which the percentage is 21.1%. Excuse me. And for the age of 20 until 25, there were 127 respondents, and the percentage is 70.6%. And lastly is 25 to 30 years of age, where the respondent is 15, and the percentage is 8.3%. Next is the category of the highest level of education. As you can see, the high school, diploma or foundation, bachelor degree, master, PhD, and PhD. So for high school, they have 4 respondents, and the percentage is 2.2%. Diploma or foundation have 71%, in which is the percentage 39.4%, and the bachelor degree is our highest, which is have 105 respondents in, and the percentage is 58.3. And master and PhD, there were none that have master or PhD. So next is our descriptive analysis or descriptive statistic. As you can see, entrepreneur, the minimum and is 2.67, and the maximum is 5.00, and the mean is 4.0074, and the standard deviation is 6.7399. Excuse me. And they have a very high standard deviation, mean or standard. And entrepreneur motivation, the minimum 2.33, and for the maximum is 5, for the mean is 4.1271, and the standard deviation is 719 and 52. And personality trait or questionnaires is minimum 8.83, 1.83, the maximum is 5, and the mean is 3.7790, and the standard deviation is 0.73259. And for the openness to experience, the minimum is 2.33, and the maximum is 5, and also the mean is 4.0534, and the standard deviation is 0.67236, and the altitude is the minimum is 2.67, and the maximum is 5.00, and the mean is 3.6878, and the standard deviation is 0.674. 564. As we can see, that the personality trait is very low, and the other, so the reliability analysis is that, as you can see, the same with study measure, the entrepreneur attention, the number of time we get used is 0.83, entrepreneur motivation 0.83, personality trait, consciousness, personality trait, openness to experience also as the same 0.79, and the attitude of 0.92. So the question that we use for our survey has a high reliability. Reliability. Next is our correlation. As you can see, entrepreneurship, entrepreneur motivation 0.164, personality trait, consciousness 0.131, and 0.091, personality trait, openness to experience 0.05, and for the next is 0.35, and next is 0.043, and for the attitude is that 0.031, 0.029, and 0.28. So regression. So as you can see for our model summary, the model, the R and the R square, the adjusted R square and the standard error of estimated for the R square is 0.233 alpha and the 0.54, and the adjusted R square is 0.33, and standard error of the estimate is 0.6279. And for next is ANOVA table. And for the ANOVA, the regression of the sum of square is 4.452, and the phi is 4, and the mean square for regression is 1.113, and the significant is 0.42. So next is our coefficient table. So as you can see that the significant for emotional entrepreneur motivation, personality trait, consciousness, personality trait, open to experience, and attitude, the significant is 0.10, 0.47, and 0.315, and 0.714. For the conclusion is that the hypothesis for our the hypothesis that we use for entrepreneur motivation has a positive impact on entrepreneur attention, and the significant level is that 0.10, and the result is accepted. Also same for personality traits, consciousness has positive impact on entrepreneur, and the significant level is 0.47 accepted. And that means that the first two hypotheses that it is being accepted, or the result is accepted for other people or other for future researcher to use to base on. So for the hypothesis, number 3 is the personality trait, openness to experience, have positive impact on entrepreneur intention is that 0.314. The result is rejected, and the last hypothesis, the attitude has positive impact on entrepreneur intention, and the significant level is 0.714, also rejected. So for the conclusion that this research has a number of intriguing theoretical ramification. First, the author combined personality motivation, curricular differences, for example, entrepreneur education and entrepreneurship intention into a single model following the say of Wang et in 2016 proposal. In the context of entrepreneurship, the introduction of motivation was a response to the inconsistent result of the personality intention relationship. there are various limitations to this study. First, future research could further dissect the two types of motivation studied in this study, internal external motivation, like Plank and Rand said in 2010. For example, investigate the influence of and intrinsic motivation aspect on self. So for the conclusion, in this study, we can say that there's not a lot of uh, input, or not a lot of uh, how you can say the means to find about digital entrepreneurship. So with that, we the conclusion is that it's hard uh, to make to make an example, to make uh, excuse me, to make a proposal, or to dissect the independent or variable or independent variable. And that's all for me. Thank you.